Commence primary ignition.
Hey, this is Okitahi. I play Dr. Pershing, and you are watching the Virtual Cantina Network.
Well, hello there.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm JB.
And I'm Sarah.
And you have found I Know, our cozy little corner of the internet, where we celebrate all things fandom. Welcome.
Thank you for joining us. And boy, what a time it is to be a fan of fandom at the moment.
Yes.
Ups
Yes,
and
it
downs,
is.
roller coasters, left and right. I don't know about all of you, but I'm exhausted. How is it the middle of March? I feel like
Yeah, we're here, right?
it's been at least multiple months. And also, how is it the middle of March already? Like, where did the time go? I feel like it was just. Weren't we just complaining about how long January had been and it was cold and terrible?
Oh yeah. January crawls, and the next thing you know, we're celebrating St. Patty's Day, and
here we are.
The Ides of March. Now it doesn't feel like spring out there today, at least.
I think for a lot of people, it doesn't feel like spring. I've been seeing in the VCN chat, we're looking at 98 degrees in Bakersfield, 101 down in North Carolina.
Skip spring, went right to summer.
And it's like 42 where we are.
Like we're close. We got a little bit of taste of summer last week, and it's been up and down, some thunderstorms, and so it is typical mid-Atlantic spring weather. You never quite know.
Wild and woolly out there, which is why it's all normally fun and fuzzy and welcoming in here. But I'm thinking that tonight it might get a little spicy.
Oh, it might. So we're drinking tonight there, love.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are drinking Jason's absolute favorite.
Oh,
Jamie is so excited to be here right now. It is, in fact, the Bloody Maul, as we are. Take on our
oh my goodness,
Bloody Mary.
This is a mocktail. There is no. I don't know. I mean,
sadly, I think the vodka would improve it. But
obviously, a twist on the Bloody Mary. But there's no vodka in this. Everything else is about the right side. So
you can do it, babe. You can do it. Yay! I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Cheers, love.
Cheers.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, that is. I'm gonna put that over there.
Yeah. Oh, come on. I even put olives in it for you.
You did.
I mean, you dip those in the tomato juice. They're fantastic. It's very tasty.
What do you think? I mean, I think everybody can see my face.
Well, I think it'd be better with vodka.
Vodka, right?
Yeah, no.
Although I've never understood a Bloody Mary. In the
love 'em.
morning, I'm not. It's not. Here's something though.
Well, it
If
doesn't have
you
it doesn't have any caffeine in it, so of course you're not happy. My
maybe,
dad used to
yeah,
be
that's
famous
true.
for his Bloody Mary recipes, and this is pretty close. This is pretty close. So I
So
like the
there,
tang, the tart, the salt, the savory.
yeah. If you believe the internet, if you believe Google, there is a Star Wars connection to the Bloody Mary.
I
Believe
don't
it or not. At
know.
least the naming of it. So
I don't know. Convince me.
again, which we base the drink, the Bloody Maul, off of the Bloody Mary. I always thought of it as Mary Queen of Scots, and so Maul was sort of appropriate. One bad,
fair enough,
historical figure to another. That being said, according to Google, the Bloody Mary was developed in the 1920s in Paris at a bar called Harry's New York Bar. Now the bartender. I'm terrible at my high school French, so I'm not going to try to pronounce him. But he named it after a lady named Mary who used to work at a Chicago bar or worked at a Chicago bar called Buckets of Blood. Now, here's the Star Wars connection. If you know your High Republic, you know Jedi Master, who is nicknamed Buckets of Blood because he is a healer. So there you go. The Bloody Mary, 3 degrees of separation from Star Wars.
Buckets of blood. I love it. Well, that's what we should have named it.
Maybe we should have. I wish I would have known that. That was the rabbit hole I was going in as we were
there we go.
There we
go. All right.
So as you mentioned, it's been kind of a crazy week or a crazy week and a half for the
Barnes Crew's been a lot busier than it tends to be in a random 2-week period. Yeah, we've had all sorts of craziness going on.
So if we go back, not this past weekend, but the weekend before,
first weekend in March,
many of our listeners, fans, friends
of a certain age, our compatriots of a certain age,
appreciate us and the show that we saw in Baltimore, which was the Gen X Takeover.
Yep.
Comedians who didn't set out to be the comedians, but we've got
Kelly Mano,
the
Dad Bod veteran,
Professor,
and the real Slim Sherry got together with their MC, the Millennial. We forgive him for that. And they're touring the country. It was an absolute blast.
So great weekend. No Star Wars jokes, interestingly enough, but plenty of other stuff that reminded me of my middle school, high school, and early college years.
And middle-aged years. Well, lots of
middle-aged years,
current jokes references. Yeah, so they're touring right now. So if anybody is interested, highly recommend. Made for a great night out. Really enjoyed it. And we barely had time to recover from that before we went slamming right into Awesome Con weekend.
Yeah, Awesome
here
Con
in the DC metro area.
Yep. Our second time going. Last year was in April, so a little bit later. So this year they pushed it up into March. I'm thankful that next year is going to be in April because it
was a little cold.
It was chilly outside. Yeah. So what was your overall impressions of Awesome Con?
I mean, it was just as wonderful it had been last year, and as it had been perceived to be by us, which is why we started going to it. I really love. They have an entire artist alley. They have an author's alley. They fill the convention center. There's all these rooms full of all of these incredible things. They have puzzles. They have tabletop gaming. They have video gaming. They had an entire House of Horrors this year, this huge room on the second floor that was full of all of these hand-built sets that made you look like you were in a horror movie.
Mark would have just stayed over there.
I don't think we'd have seen him. I think he'd have just been there all day, all weekend, right? And then you have the main ballroom, and you have the huge vendors alley, and you have the photographs and the autographs and the panels and Pride Alley. It's all about safety and inclusivity, and they have stuff specifically for kids. So families come on Fridays and Sundays. And so it was just what has kind of started as a small kind of local con has steadily gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And then this year, of course, they had the almost the entire cast of the Firefly TV series. We got to go last year, and we met Summer Glau and Sean Marr, who played Simon and River Tam in the series, for those of you who've seen it. And they were wonderful, and they were lovely. And then this year, Jewel and Morena, who had canceled last year because of work and personal conflicts, they popped up, and then other people started popping up. And then before we knew it, all of them, up to and including Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion, were all going to be here. And then I think it was about a month ago, they started dropping these cute little reels on Instagram and out on social media. I started to flip out with the implications and your reaction, which to this day still makes me giggle.
Well, I mean, so I confession, ladies and gentlemen, is the
we hesitated.
Yeah, I know almost became a single hosted show. Because it actually was not that long ago that I was going, I don't, we've got some other events coming up later on in this year that we're saving money for, and
maybe we shouldn't.
Maybe we should save up. We went to it last year. This was before. Then I saw the Firefly reunion, everyone coming in, but I was on the fence. I was on the fence for a long time, and
yeah, you were, sir.
Boy, thank God that I didn't, because I would not be here with you now.
I'd have murdered you in your sleep.
You would have, absolutely. It would have. The bloody JB is what we would have.
That is what we would have. Yes, if I had missed the opportunity to be live there and in person for the announcement of the Firefly opportunity for a continuation of the series, and thanks to fellow VCN members, Ashley and Steven too, who also kind of encouraged me. He lives way out west, and encouraged us to get there as soon as the metro opened, that we wanted to be there first thing early Sunday morning before the convention center even opened, so that we could get a good seat in the panel. And I was dragging my feet, and I was whining, and I was like, I'm not a morning person. It's not pretty. You don't want to see me first thing in the morning. I don't think I could do this. I'm Gen X. I'm perimenopausal. I'm mid-age. I don't think I could do this. But we did. We got encouraged, and my darling, sweet husband dragged me out of bed, kicking and screaming and whining.
That was my role.
And oh, dark, stupid. And we did it. We made it. We got there bright and early.
Yeah.
Sat in the front row, except for these extra special reserved people. There were like 9 or 12 of them in front of us, kind of thing. And it was amazing. It was wonderful. That room was packed.
Yeah, it was. It was standing room. I mean, it was standing room only. In fact, I went out, maybe 45 minutes before the show start, and people were getting turned away.
They were turning people away. So and this room had to have held 1,000 chairs. Had to have held 1,000 chairs. And then people were standing behind, and they were up in the balcony next to it and everything. Yeah. And the best part was watching the actors' faces when they walked out. I think my favorite was Sean Marr, as he was bringing a phone out to record, and he dropped the F-bomb. Looking at everybody. I
remember him doing that. If you remember last year, him and Summer did a panel together. We went to that panel,
just
right?
The two of
them. And it was full, but it wasn't like that full. And he had a very similar reaction to it. And so watching him
do the same thing,
I knew I was waiting for it. I was like, because we had literally almost front row seats to it. So I'm like, his reaction is going to be insane. And I expected him to come up with his phone, which he did. So I'm new to cons. I until Sunday, I was like, maybe this is where it ends. I get it now. Unfortunately, it's a little bit like golf, where you get a great shot, and then all the hundreds that you were in the rough, you don't care anymore.
You don't remember that part.
5 o'clock Sunday morning, I was not a happy camper, getting us up and getting us out the door. But yeah, it was fun. The cosplay was fantastic. Actually, a lot of Star Wars. We didn't have a lot of Star Wars guests.
No, but there were a lot of amazing cosplayers.
Alan Tudyk was the highest, so to speak, Star Wars guest.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, George Takei was there. He's done Visions.
Yep.
There was some classic Doctor Who was there.
A lot of horror, obviously.
There's definitely
Horror's
a lot of horror. Role playing was a big deal because they had Critical Role, the characters from that.
They surprised the panel.
Yeah. This year there was not really any Star Wars, but there was a lot of Star Wars cosplay. A lot of Mandalorians. I think they were probably the costume
full kitted out.
They were great.
Definitely. Saw a lot of 501st jackets.
Some great Ewoks.
That was so fun. Yeah, I had no idea they were on our Star Wars celebration page until I saw a picture of them posting it. It was like, we saw you. Those are great costumes.
Saw them. In fact, on Friday, they were one of the first cosplay folks that we saw. So some Jedi. Saw some great Reys of all ages. That was actually a lot of fun. I love the fact that she's a fan favorite character. And it's so fantastic panels that we got a chance to go to.
I might have been a little overexcited about the announcement that it is going to be an animated series that they're backing and trying to get fans on board with, and basically provide the analytics to find a home, find a production house. Because when Alan Tudyk said the only way to do it is to animate it, I jumped up out of my seat and waved my arms around and yelled. It was
You're really one of 3 people, I think.
And I turned around and looked, and there was like 3 other people, and I was like, "Oh crap!" I'm gonna just sit back down now. Yeah,
and it's on YouTube. I think you can watch the whole panel, or you can definitely see clips of it.
The Once We Were Spacemen is a podcast with Alan and Nathan. And I think he said that they put the whole one up there. I've seen bits and pieces of the announcement spliced together, but it was fun. It was a good time.
It was pretty neat the way that Nathan decided to do it. He came out, he had a stack of 3x5 cards.
Index cards.
And he decided to start handing them to the various.
Each person had something to say.
And they all started with, "Hi, I'm Nathan Fillion." And then they would say what they told Nathan, and so it was great. Summer started to burst into, she didn't burst into tears, but you could definitely say she was getting choked up. See that she's getting choked up. So it was fun. And then Nathan came out, he did it at the very end
with all the details.
He listed off, hey, these are all the things. This has been a project over 5 years.
Yeah.
And he's gotten permission from the original showrunner, Josh. He's got permission from Fox. He's found an animated studio. He has found writers.
They've got a pilot. Yep.
They've got showrunners. He's got, so now what they are trying to do is what they don't have is a studio. They don't have a home yet. So that's where the fan energy.
I'm excited. I think it's perfect. He was very adamant about it needs to be set in that world that we already have established, in that sandbox that is already there. That is what I love. That is what the fans love. That's what we want. And we went back was it Sunday night? It was Monday night. We watched Shindig. One of my favorite episodes of Firefly. And honestly, I think they're almost all my favorite episodes for one reason or another, to be honest. And it was an episode with Badger in it. And that was what I got really excited about, is I was like, we have 2 episodes of Badger. We have 2 episodes of Yosaf Bridge, and Mr. Universe, the actor who actually played Mr. Universe, texted Nathan in the middle of the panel.
Yeah, he did.
While
that was
they
actually
were up
funny.
on stage, and Nathan read out, and he was like, "Gee, wish my character wasn't dead. Really happy for all of you." And Nathan was like, "Dude, we're going back in time. You're in. You want to be in? You can be in." All the backstories of the characters. Marina Baccarin talked about what it was that Inara was running from, right? Why did she leave Half Madrasa? What was the reason behind it? And and I thought about an episode like Out of Gas, where you flash back to other bits and pieces of it. What was the shepherd running from? What was happening? What happened on Whitefall with Patience after the pilot, right? Go back to the Reaver ravaged planet. All of this stuff is there, and it's ripe for building, and they can focus completely on the writing and the storytelling and the character arcs, right? Because you don't have to worry about people aging or writing the right stories for how they look now, or a 20-year time jump, right? It's just right there in the place that we all love.
I think it'd be fun. There's definitely echoes in my mind of Firefly and Rebels, right?
Yeah.
So these stories and the fact that Rebels was able to tell very complicated stories, but lots of fun adventure stories,
in
episodic
20-some
stories,
minutes. Yeah.
in 20-some minutes of animation, tells me that even if the style's not the same, tells me that Firefly can do the same thing. and wedge it together with where the show ended before the movie Serenity starts, as well as weave in a lot of the backstories that did. There's a lot of material to be mined there. I think it's going to be it's going to be good. John, great question. They did not say who, but Nathan did say he definitely wanted book there. He wanted, one of the things that was very important for him about this project, why it's set there, is he said people talk to him about doing stuff post movie. He's like, I don't want to go there. I want my crew. I want the team.
My friends.
So my friends. So Sarah and I were kind of talking about that. That's going to be one of the harder decisions for them is to find someone to voice book.
It kind of reminded me of the Balin Scroll situation. But it's been 25 years since Ron Glass did the voice. I'm sure that there is an outstanding Black actor now who is the age that Ron Glass was back then that could do a similar, voice match and a cadence and a style and a personality, and that would be, delighted to, honor that character in that way. I'm sure of it. Probably the only thing I'm a little hesitant about, and is definitely a lot of the chatter that I see online, is that the implication is that Adam Baldwin is also going to be involved.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's definitely sort of a moment for me. The individual, the actor themselves, is very problematic for me. But I love the character of Jane Cobb. So it's this weird dichotomy. And the fact that he had a reel that was included with all of the other actors seems to indicate that those individuals don't have a problem working with him in a professional capacity. So, yeah, I don't know. How did you feel about that, Jay?
I think similar. There's so many things that we don't know. I think it's a choice every one of us as fans have to make when we support something. I think it's also something to keep in mind, all the amazing people that it takes to put these type of projects together.
Right.
And unfortunately, Hollywood are filled with people that don't live up to their expectations and values. And so it's up to each of us as how we want to approach shows and projects and stuff, and how we want to support it.
We have to draw the line somewhere, right? Like if you hold everybody to a sterling high standard of never ever doing anything wrong, anyone who's ever been associated, entertainment wouldn't get made, right? Like it's not possible. But on the other hand, if we don't speak up about some things, then you never get an improvement and it never gets better.
I'm not going to fault anybody who doesn't want to follow the project.
That's their choice.
But I'm also not going to fault people who want to, because
I've loved this series for 25 years, and he is one person of a 9-member crew, and all the rest of those people are fantastic human beings. And we got rid of the problematic creator. He's not involved. And to me, this is a different scenario in that Adam Baldwin is an actor. He's one piece of a larger puzzle. He's not the producer. He's not the director. He's not the showrunner. He's not the creator. He's not the, do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of really amazing people involved, from set design to music to costume design to being in charge of the whole show. I think it's kind of a reality situation where a lot of people are going through stuff like that with, family and friends in the real world. How do you reconcile that? And so to me, I've loved this so much and so deeply for so long that I'm not going to let one person being a moron and making bad decisions and running his mouth off stop me from continuing to love what could be another amazing iteration of this universe that I think has such great stories to tell still. So
and I like your approach, because you're also willing to vocalize that tension there and not just ignore it and state where the problems are. And I think that's important for fandom of all kinds. Shows of all kinds to,
and I think he has been called out, and I think he has suffered personally for it. I mean, to me, it's very telling that he was not invited to this convention while everyone else was. There was no word that said that he was, had a conflict and could make it. He just wasn't there. So
Well, and it is funny because nostalgia is an important part of our fandom. I look back at some shows and they didn't necessarily age as well,
They didn't hold up very well.
But there's still parts, things that I like, but I think it's important to call out where some of the issues are, and have good, honest discussions about it. And so this is, I think that's the best way to approach it. But boy, we could talk Firefly all day, couldn't we?
Yes, we sure could. Yeah, but speaking of animation, I have to say that is probably the thing I'm most excited about with what is coming up soon in the Star Wars universe. However, for me personally, when our director of programming announced that March was going to be all about Maul, I think I made the same face you made when you tried your Bloody Maul.
Bloody Maul.
I think how you feel about this drink is kind of how I feel about this character.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I was just like, no. I was just sort of like, it's not my thing. It's not my drink. It's not my character. I don't like it.
Acquired taste.
That is definitely one way. That's definitely one way to look at it. Yeah, for sure.
So new trailers dropped for Shadow Lord. I've watched it. Sarah has not. I'm not even sure you haven't seen the teaser trailer yet either. Have the trailer beforehand.
Nope.
I'm gonna chalk that up as not because you're not interested in it, is because you don't like spoilers and you don't want too much to give away. That's the canon in my head right now. The trailer was amazing. I loved it. I will give a shout out to the Clone Wars rewatch crew on Monday. They jumped into it, talked a lot about it. Yeah, I'm excited. It hits the beats. The animation is fantastic. We've got some great.
I've heard that.
Some great, Vanessa Marshall's in there as Rook. I mean, some really neat characters. And we've heard Sam talk about this a little bit. Maul's sort of found himself. He knew the plan, or knew of parts of the plan that Sidious showed him, but he didn't quite know it, and it was going to end up the way it did. And now he's got to figure out how to navigate that. There's almost a film noir aspect to it, because there's a I don't know if it's a detective or a cop part, characters in there. So
interesting.
StarWars.com has a good article, not very long, about the trailer. Good. It lists out the characters as well as the actors associated with it too.
Okay.
And sort of gives you, if you need a little bit of details of the planet that they're on. And so
I mean, for me, that's definitely the best part about this, right? Because after Clone Wars, after Rebels, after Bad Batch and Visions, I love the fact that Lucasfilm Animation has something else to sink its teeth into, right? And it sounds like both in sound production and in actual animation quality, they're really leveling up their game.
Yep.
And so I'm really happy about that. And I mean, honestly, it's the whole you love, I hate kind of thing.
Yeah, that was the name of the show today.
It does come from a place of love. I mean, this is by no means am I attempting to sway anyone's opinion or say that this is a bad character or whatever. It's just, if you love Maul, it's like Bloody Marys. If you love Maul, great. I'm so happy for you. And overall, I think that this show is a wonderful stepping stone. It's a wonderful continuation. I hope it gets lots of love and lots of accolades. It just is not. It's not my thing. Doesn't do it for
not
me.
your thing.
Doesn't do it for me. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out why.
Okay. Let's start with you start with the love. Start with the love.
Surprise, Sarah, you're up first.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. All right. Fine.
Oh, just yep.
No, this is my number 5 reason, which was also the first reason I hated Maul.
Yeah.
He killed Qui-Gon.
Yeah, well, that he does.
I was so intrigued by this character. I loved it. He voiced his opinion. He was calm and he was gentle and he was a master. And he should have been on the council, but he kept pissing him off. He kept calling him out, And I loved the book Master and Apprentice, where he talked about he was challenging the Republic. He was challenging the Jedi Order on their implicit allowance of slave trade to continue throughout the galaxy for expediency. He was an advocate. He was incredibly powerful. He was incredibly kind and generous. He was one of the first Jedi to ever be able to try to continue exist as a sentient being in the living. But I just, it sort of is lining up probably in real life for me right now about how good people are dying and others are not. This was just this was just the scales of justice tipped the wrong way in this one for me. So
no, I get it. I get it. And it's funny because I'm gonna get a bit macro a little bit because I was thinking a lot about this of the importance of Maul in the Star Wars universe from sort of the big macro story.
You mean from the Dave Filoni exposition that was after season 1 of Mandalorian?
Okay, that is great too. It's actually this moment. This is the reason why that Maul is as key as he is, because he actually kills Qui-Gon. And it does a couple things, and you hint on it. Qui-Gon then is able to, instead of just becoming one with the Force right away, he's able to come back. He's able to teach Obi-Wan. We know that's important for Obi-Wan to be able to teach Luke, as well as Obi-Wan's sacrifice at the end of episode 4. It also it puts Obi-Wan, who I guess this becomes his trial, becomes a Jedi Knight, maybe too soon. He says he's ready. George he takes on an apprentice, i.e. Anakin. I think it's debatable whether he does well or not. Had Qui-Gon lived, I'm not sure we have that same strain.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is absolutely a what if situation. Like, how much better would the universe have been if Qui-Gon had lived? So but this was step 1, day 1, from the first time I met Maul, got off on the wrong foot, right?
Yeah. So funny that you say this. So this is where it all begins, right? So on the I was debating between this picture, but I had to get the action in there. You can see the double lightsaber. You can see them fighting 2 against 1. This is the other part of why Maul, in my opinion, is in episode 1. But episode 1 is where it all begins. You finally have a baddie who's not an older, who shoots lightning out of his hands. Yeah. Sidious. Yeah. And it's not a robot. He's organic. He's badass. I love the history, and you and Ashley covered it great on Daughters of his design. He's the second worst nightmare that George asked for. And of course, those concepts ends up filling in for the Night Sisters, who are part of Maul's family. I thought of also the picture of when we see him come out in the double-bladed lightsaber. It's the first time we ever see that. This is one of the reasons why he's cast the way he is for this fight. And the reason is because George wanted to show Jedi and Sith at their prime, right? We had an old man and mostly a robot fight in episode 4. It gets better. I mean, episode 5 is great. Jedi is good, but he wanted to elevate that, just their abilities. And so you've got the 2 against 1. It's fantastic. So that's the purpose of Maul, at least in the prequels. Before we get to what you just showed us, and then when Obi-Wan takes care of the rest of the story. So. So same scene. Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of ending the duel.
Yeah, he died. Yeah, exactly. Yep. He died. Yep, I was relieved in the movie theater. I was delighted. Spence? Again, I stood up and yelled and cheered.
I think you did.
In all of my knowledge,
every single
Star
time
Wars,
we went
someone being cut in half means he's dead. And everything I known previously about Star Wars, this dude was dead. End of story. It's all over. And I think, looking back on it, this right here was the start of the but they're not really dead trend. This is it. This is where it all started. You get stabbed, you get cut in half. Lightsabers suddenly become ineffective weapons. They essentially become pointless. They were supposed to be this incredible, amazing, exclusive weapon to this order of Jedi Knights. And I mean, that was always one of my favorite lines about the stunt coordinator in the prequels. He's like, if you're going to play with light swords, you better be, in a world of phasers and blasters, you better be pretty damn good at it, right?
Right.
So this is another thing that annoyed me, is it all started right here. That is has to be like a 5-mile deep air shaft. And he was cut in half for the love of potatoes. Like, come on. So I still to this day roll my eyes every time somebody comes back and is not really dead from it. It irks me. Yeah, because Qui-Gon died and he didn't, and this is where it all started. And I understand it was George's decision, but I am with Dave that I don't agree with him, and I think it was a terrible idea. And I think it opened the door to a whole lot of ridiculous retconning when it comes to writing for Star Wars characters now, and it all started because of him. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue. Yeah, the Qui-Gon gets stabbed, he gets cut in half. One lives, one doesn't. Falling. There's always these large shafts in deep pits in Star Wars.
As John says, there's no OSHA. There's no health and safety. Yep.
That's right. Where's the
railings? No bloody
railings?
Where's
the railings?
Yep.
It's the power of the dark side, guys.
Well, so that's the thing. I got two comments. Is
whatever.
One is, and we get a good feel for this with Palpatine / Sidious talking with Anakin at the opera. The fact that the dark side is always trying to figure out how to stay alive. That is part of their, I don't know if it's creed, I don't know if it's part of their, but they are trying to cheat death. Oh. So I suspect that Maul at this point is dabbling in whatever that is, as much as Sidious allows him or much he's able to get away with. It's also bringing Maul back after this. He's got to figure out, just talk about the rage and the hate and everything, the will that you have to do to survive something like this. I give George props for suggesting this, because I think it opens up the Star Wars universe in very, very interesting ways, and which is why I'm looking forward to Shadow Lord. He probably perfectly understood that people are going to mock it and complain about it.
Agree.
But Obi-Wan aim a little bit higher than the shoulders next time, I guess is all I'm gonna say. Mace shows him what to do with Jango Fett later on.
That's true.
It does give us a couple good, kind of chuckles in the Clone Wars that Obi-Wan gives, how difficult Maul is to kill. So. So my 4. This is the second arc in Clone Wars where we get to see Maul. This is the beginning of, and the first arc is very much a revenge story. I mean, we see Maul, he's got the spidery legs and he's crazy, and the Mother Talzin helps him out and he moves it. Great story arc, and he's trying to get after Obi-Wan, very singular. This is now, I think, where Maul, as we'll say him on his second life, I think character starts to become more interesting because he's teaming up with Death Watch. He starts to build the Shadow Collective. That's in this, where he's going after the Black Sun, the Pike Syndicate, the Hutts. In this story arc, we get Bo-Katan comes back. We see the fate of Pre Vizsla. But Maul is starting to think a little bit bigger than just revenge against Obi-Wan. He's trying to figure out what kind of group can I rally behind, or can I bring to me by sheer will, and that's going to have ramifications. And we're going to see, and so
for what reason?
Well, he's I got more on this.
Okay, all right, then we can.
Part of it is still revenge, but he is. This story arc ends because Sidious realizes Maul's getting maybe a bit too
big for his britches.
And so, he comes in and takes care of that. Takes care of Savage. We of course get the death of Teen, and we get Obi-Wan.
Okay, you're still not telling me what it is you like about this. I still don't get what you love about this.
This is pushing Maul beyond just seeking revenge. He is now trying to gather people around him and lead an organization, which I think is going to be a big key play in the next series. And this becomes actually a big part of his story arc in several iterations from this point onward. We go from singular Obi-Wan in the first arc to this one, and he's now starting to build up to a much more interesting type of villain beneath our Vader, well, what will become Vader, but our Sidious villain. And then when we get to the Empire, we got Vader. So,
Interesting.
And this sets a whole bunch of things in motion. Ramifications that we've got in the Mandalorian show, in the movie, what's going to come in at the end of the Clone Wars series. A whole bunch of things get catapulted because of this story arc.
Well, that's very interesting because you and I saw that completely differently.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah is so aggravated. I love it. I can hear it's what she's not saying. She's like, this is terrible. I love both your lists because I knew this is what was going to happen. There's no agreement whatsoever.
Yep. No, I completely disagree.
All right.
The reason I dislike Maul as a villain is because he has no compelling story.
Oh, I disagree with that.
He literally has no boundaries. He has mommy issues. His entire life, as you could call it, since he was cut in half, has been manipulated by his mother. Is she actually biologically his mother? I don't know. Anyway, creepy, weird, or just someone he. Anyway, don't care. Doesn't matter.
It varies
She's the mother
based
figure.
on legends versus
That's what
canon,
I thought.
etc. And it is actually unclear at the moment. Star Wars Explained actually just did a whole big video on Maul in prep for the new show coming out, which I highly recommend.
Cool. Okay.
And he brings that up.
That's what I thought. Oh, good. I'm glad I'm confused because I was like, I've heard lots of different things and
I've
I'm
heard
not
it
sure.
differently, yeah.
But the point is, she's the mother figure and she completely manipulates an already damaged and abused person for her own gain. She strips away all of his humanity and gives him, quote unquote, a half-life with these weird spider legs and leaves only these few little things that she thinks are useful and important. For me, in order to have a good villain, it has to be something that interests me. It has to be something that catches my attention and sparks, which is why I like Thrawn, which is why I like Reva. Those are interesting characters. And while I wouldn't necessarily call them good characters, they have very specific goals in mind. That is what they care about. And they are their own goals. They're not anybody else's goals. They're not stark raving mad, stumbling or bumbling around, trying to get revenge on somebody for one thing. It doesn't. Maybe this new series will help. But for me, the only thing I see about Maul is mommy's beaten little dog boy running around, pinging around like a pinball machine, not having any idea what the hell he's doing because he has all of this unfocused rage everywhere. You say he started to be more interesting when he was going for Mandalore. And what did he do when he got all of that power? Tried to get revenge on Obi-Wan Kenobi. So to me, there was no growth. He is still focused on revenge because that's what the Night Sisters programmed him to go and be and do. He has no boundaries. He doesn't have the ability to break away, to set his own goals, to do his own thing. He's just caught in this ugly little abusive spiral. I don't like it. I don't enjoy watching it. And I certainly don't respect it as a villain. And quite frankly, after 20 years plus, I'm kind of worn out in the sympathy angle for it. I'm sort of burnt out a little on it. I'm like, ugh, God, just get it together or move the hell on, dude. Come on, let's go. Like, I'm just, doesn't do it. That doesn't,
So I think well, no, and that's fair. I love this scene. I love the Night Sisters because I like it. I like the fact that we're showing Force wielders using the Force differently than the Sith and the Jedi. Because I think we need that. We get some of that more in the High Republic. And of course, it's interesting to me, again, thinking about the fact that the Sith are very much trying to figure out how to stay alive rather than become one of the Force through death. But you've got some very interesting powers here, healing powers, life-giving powers that the Night Sisters do. So to me, it's an interesting touch that because Maul was Sith. He was rejected by the Sith at one point in time. He was ripped from his family. And he says this later on. This is a point I was going to make later on because he talks about this. I was ripped from my family. My brother was killed. Sidious kills his brother. He was captured. He was tortured. And then he is a survivor to a point. I think, and starting with the Death Watch and what we're going to go through, he's got revenge, but he's also, there's some beyond Obi-Wan. He's trying to grow. How am I going to survive and how am I going to thrive against? Well, we got during the Clone Wars, but then also then in the Empire, which is when we pick him up in Rebels, and then we'll pick up on the next time. Unfortunately, or fortunately, he ends up back, and his final demise is trying to get revenge on Obi-Wan, and we know where that's going for because we know the bookend of the story. So I do see a story arc in there. I think it's an interesting story arc because he has ramifications. His actions have ramifications for the wider universe. He has been used as a tool, though, and he is trying to constantly survive from that. And grow. Whether he grows or not,
poorly.
Question.
It took a very long time to do a very simple thing badly. He did not survive. He did not achieve. He just kept mucking around in the same little pigsty. It just.
Well,
all right, let's go into year number 3.
Yeah,
let's go into year number 3. What is it you love about Maul? Go ahead.
He's a mastermind of the Shadow Collective, and there's a couple things. I was thrilled when I saw Maul pop up at the end of Solo.
That was kind of cool. That was the one time I was actually happy to see the guy.
Yeah. So a couple, just interesting things as I thought about dates, right? So Rebels, when we see Maul again, is 2016. So we know, the last time we see Maul before season 7 of Clone Wars, which doesn't come out until 2020, is when he is being captured by Sidious. All of a sudden, so we see him in Rebels, so we know he survives, but we don't know how. Solo in 2018 throws him up on the screen. So what does that mean? So we've got him as Crimson Dawn. Mm-hmm. What is that? We get a little bit of that backstory just in this scene in the, Phantom Apprentice episode of that 4-story arc. Maybe the best Clone Wars stories ever is those 4 episodes centered obviously around Ahsoka, woven together around the time frame of episode 3. But there he is with his Shadow Collective. You've got Rook, who's going to be part of the next animated series in there. And you've got Dryden Voss. So we know he's already in the criminal syndicate. And I think, to me, I like the fact that that's where he's playing. That's the sandbox he's playing in right now. Because the overarching story at this point in time, or that we're going to, is we're at the end of the Republic, we're at the end of the Clone Wars. The Empire's coming on. We have those stories. We have the Darth Vader. But we also know, because we have bounty hunters. We've got the Pikes and the crime syndicates that have been hinted at even in George Lucas's original stuff. We know there's this there's this underworld that's going on, and we don't see a lot of it. And it fits perfectly in my mind that that's where Maul is going to take his powers, his talents, his persuasion. And there's some fantastic lines in this scene that he's explaining a little bit. We know more as the audience than the characters do, but he's talking a little bit already about Sidious's plans. And he's trying to figure out, as a tactician, how are we going to survive the change that is coming?
But that feels like retconning to me, because if he was so sure he knew what was going on with Sidious's plans, then why did he get his ass kicked earlier in the Clone Wars? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, all of a sudden you're all clued into what's happening here. You knew all along.
So
really?
He was clued in to a point, but we'll come to the reason why he ends up where he ends up in Rebels in a little bit later.
Are we sure?
We
Okay.
will.
Okay. Because that's my number 2.
Is it now?
Mm-hmm.
Twin sons.
Yeah. No, you and all of your he's a great big crime boss now. He's
He
in
is.
charge of all of these syndicates. He knows what he's doing. He's gonna fix everything. Clearly not. Clearly not. The man's wandering around in rags in the desert for Lord knows how long. Folks, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I think the thing that irritates me the most about Maul is that he just keeps ending up back in the same spot. Same spot. Same spot. Over and over again. I mean, for all of his grandiose designs, everything thinks he's such a badass and he's so amazing and he's got the entire underbelly of the galaxy. And yet, where does he end up? Living in a cave, completely obsessed over Obi-Wan. I mean, it's exhausting to me. It really is. He's not that great. He's not that amazing. He's not that good. He couldn't even die properly.
How much
At
time
least
frame?
other villains, when they fail, they die and they go away and they stop bothering me. Instead, this guy's hanging around like a freaking mosquito, irritating the crap out of me for 20 years.
So how many years has it been at this point from where we leave off?
I don't care. I
So
don't care. It doesn't matter. This is the end result.
13,
This is the
14 now?
end result. That's the whole point I'm trying to
It is, but there's a pretty good chunk of time, which is why there's a lot clearly that happens, or he does a lot. And we've only had hints of it right now. Solo is really the only thing, and we pick up towards the end of his story in Rebels. I mean, we meet him on,
it better be the end. They bring him back again after Twin Sons, and that's it. I quit. I'm walking away from the fandom. I'm all done.
Well, that's perhaps jumping the shark too much.
It is not. It is not. No. That was an amazing tool. Obi-Wan won.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Everybody just.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I think that's where he needed to end. I think
then won. Let it go, man. He should have won 20 years ago. Just let it.
His hate and his revenge. He's looking for revenge of Obi-Wan. We know that. That's what gets him at the end. And Obi-Wan changes. That's
how the Night Sisters programmed him. They stripped away everything else. Again, he doesn't have the ability to set boundaries.
Was it Sidious? Was it?
Doesn't have the ability to set boundaries. Break the cycle, my man. Break the cycle.
He never got out of that obsession, and that obsession ended up costing him.
Yeah, come on.
Could he have done more,
dude? Grow a pair, all right? Be your own villain. Set your own goal. Stop being such a wet blanket.
Well, he did. He went to the crime syndicate, but we don't know. Well, there's an interesting question. So what we don't have an answer for right now is where he's coming from at that point in time, to where we end up with him on Malachor.
I completely understand there's a story here, and I honestly, truly, I'm really excited for all of you Maul fans. That, no, I'm not going to say excited. I'm happy. I'm happy for all of you Maul fans that you're getting your questions answered. This is one continuity issue that does not bother me at all. I could have just left it alone forever and never been bothered. Sorry. All right, your turn. Still waiting for you to convince me.
I know I'm never going to convince you.
No.
But here's the enemy of my enemy.
We made this an actual debate with
we could have done that.
With like a timed clock and have everyone vote in the comments. That would have been
awesome. No, see, because then everybody's going to side with Jason.
I don't know.
I'm the only one that doesn't like Maul. I know.
So the enemy of my enemy is my friend here. This is where we pick up with Maul in Rebels. There's a lot that goes on, and Maul becomes an important catalyst for Kanan himself and his own growth, because he's going to get blinded here. He's a catalyst for Kanan and Ezra and their development, especially because Maul is trying to tempt him. He is now trying to really, we talk about, and I think you're right. I think he is lost and he's bouncing back and forth and he's trying different things. Revenge on Obi-Wan. Revenge on the Empire, building his own syndicate. Now he's in this point, he's trying to master apprentice and pull in Ezra to do that. I'm curious to see if we're going to see him trying to do those type of things in the Shadow Lord. To me, it's interesting to see the fact that Ahsoka is willing in this moment in time to fight alongside him. So is Kanan. They don't trust him. They're right not to trust him, but he's using them to try to get his own ends. Obviously, he's after the holocron. He's after the information. If he gets onto what's at the temple,
that's just tactics, babe. That's just grand strategy.
He is to me an evil Odysseus, who's a tactician, obviously out of the Iliad or the Odyssey.
Well, Odysseus was a jackass, so I suppose that's
so maybe it works. Yeah,
you know how I feel about that dude.
But there's a lot here and how he's trying to manipulate things. You know, he pretends to be the old master, the old man to Ezra. He's playing it. What at this point in time, you know, again, from as the viewer, we don't know episodes or season 7 yet, so we don't know the relationship that Tano and Maul have. That will get filled in, you know, a couple years later when they do their battle. All right, honorable mentions.
Oh, bad fashion choices.
Yeah, this is not.
I really hate Maul.
This is not one of the better Mandalorian designs.
Everything. I mean, tell me you're in a cult without telling me you're in a cult. You start.
By the way, I love this armor, Sarah. We're gonna fight. But when I saw this come up in your list, I couldn't actually connect the photo. I was like, "What's this extra photo in this unrelated bullet?"
Yeah, no, this is horrid. I hate this armor. I hate everything about it. It's ridiculous. It's why you start dressing like that. I mean, just ugh.
I like the red armor. I have a hard time with the spikes on the helmet. I understand why. I like the fact that
it took me a lot to get over the armor having spikes on her helmet. That damn near killed that character for me. And it was exactly why I made her suspicious of it. Yeah.
I think I like hers more than these.
Than any of this, yeah. The cult vibe I started getting off of this. I was immediately like, ew.
I think you should. I absolutely think you should get it. Maul is using the Mandalorians. Period.
I'm aware. The problem is they're not. That's the problem.
There's a certain sect of them that are not. And this is actually important because this is where Bo-Katan
screws up and gets her sister killed.
She
I'm aware.
Right? Her story that we have now in Mandalorian is because of this moment in the history. So she's able to push and
like many young people that I'm experiencing in real life today, too little, too late. Thank you for setting the entire world on fire before you caught on. The armor did it for me right there. Honorable mention. Hate Maul. People dress like him, they look stupid. All right, your turn.
All right. So I could not. Hey, see, I got you to love Maul.
No,
I could not do this without a little bit of comedy. And why not bring in Legos? I love it. I love the rebuild the galaxy so much. The fact that Maul sings. He sings to the Duel of Fates about snow with Quill like there.
This offended me on so many levels.
Oh my god,
that is my favorite version of Lando, and he's wearing the outfit, and I just no. Oh no,
and Sam is in there. He's voicing it. It is Maul, but it is Maul. I mean, I don't know how he does it, but he can play so many variants of Maul. But he
I have great respect for Sam Witwer as an actor. I mean, comedian. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, yes. I mean, he's the only reason that I have any respect for Maul the character at all is because of Sam. I mean, absolutely 100%. I don't disagree or digress from that even in the tiniest amount. But this almost made me stop watching this show. I was like,
not at all.
No, this is how deep the dislike goes, people. I mean, not even Lego can save him for me.
My goodness.
Not even Lego.
Oh, that's funny.
No, but I have to admit that the singing about the snow, it took a little whine to make me laugh about it, but I did eventually laugh about it.
I mean, he's the administrator of Snow City, and so.
But it does not make me love him.
It's so fabulous. It's so fabulous. It's so
fabulous. Stop.
Oh, so.
All right, are we ready for the number ones?
Number ones.
Are we gonna get there eventually?
Yeah, I had a feeling this was going to be your number 1
No. Yep. And there's a big difference between as bad as Qui-Gon was, at least it was a fair fight. I mean, he flat out murdered her just to upset him.
No, 100%.
And I'm like, that's a Geneva Convention violation, war crime in my mind. I mean, yeah, Anakin's murdering younglings is bad, but this no, this crosses a
Yeah.
whole nother level of despicableness. And so I'm not ever going to enjoy a show that's completely dedicated to the character who did this. Like I'm just not.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
I will, and I take your point, and I think it's actually important so I had the pleasure of with the watch along a couple weeks ago, and we did the first story arc of Maul back in the Clone Wars when he comes back. So his craziness, but then he sends the message or shows it to Obi-Wan because he's trying to lure him in, and he simply it's a hologram, but he slaughters his captives right then and there, and you're like, oh, because we have grown up with this character. We've seen him fighting alongside, Ahsoka and Kanan. And I mean, and again, I love Maul. You forget those sometimes until you were reminded of these scenes, really how evil he is.
Well, maybe you forget, but I didn't.
And I do think, and, to talk about same thing with Darth Vader, Darth Vader is a fun baddie to love, but Anakin slaughtered younglings right there in the Jedi Temple, and I think it is important that Star Wars continues, even though we get to be fans of these characters, both light and dark.
Yeah,
I do think it's important that Star Wars continues to show and have these scenes that are very raw, and try to put some markers on good and evil, even though it's not always black and white. So no, I was not surprised that this was where it was. Bookend deaths for you, I see.
Yep, beginning and end right there.
Yep. So I was debating on whether I should do the lightsaber scene because this is one of the best, definitely in the top for me fights. But I actually really enjoy the scene before they start fighting for a couple of reasons. One, Maul is explaining Sidious's plan to Ahsoka, and he has got it down.
He's figured it out. Yeah.
And he tells her what his plan was because he was trying to lure Kenobi and Anakin because he wanted to kill them. Why? Because he knows that Anakin is quote unquote the chosen one. That's not what's actually bothering him, but he knows that Sidious has been mentoring him. Grooming him is the right word to term. He knows that. Ahsoka doesn't believe him. But there is a moment in this dialogue. One is you see the tactician, you see him understanding the bigger plan, but you also know that he sees that these are forces that the Jedi aren't going to win. Sidious is going to win. The Empire's coming. Shadow Lord, I think, is the fallout of that. There's a moment, even though we know where Ahsoka's story is going to go, because we've already seen Rebels. Ahsoka agrees to join him, but she gives a condition to it. She wants to know what is his interest in Anakin, because she's very protective of her master, who at this moment in time is going on. Episode 3 is all, we have episode 3 that's happening on.
Just murdering children at this point.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So of course, Maul says he's being groomed by Sidious, and she doesn't believe him. That's why her lightsabers come out. That's why they fight. He's captured. He becomes actually very important because he becomes that on the ship. He's a big reason why she's able to survive, because he becomes that tool. He's just that weapon that just pushes through the clones that are trying to kill her as her and Rex are trying to escape. So her story is explicitly linked to him. She'll become Fulcrum. She'll help the rebels. She'll help our Ghost crew. And it's here that a lot of that comes.
See, I'm still, as Sam says, I'm still watching this with arms crossed.
Well,
I'm having a hard time this many years after the movie, this many years after Clone Wars started, this many years after the Maul character died, to suddenly for it to be this pivotal, this key, this oh really? That's interesting. And we learned that where now in 2020 for the first time. You just dropped that bomb on us with no other. I'm like, oh, horse pucky is my general response to that. I will probably get there eventually as accepting this because it's all canon, it's all woven in there, but I'm just like, No, yeah, it does not endear him to me in the slightest.
No, and I'm not sure it should, but he does make an interesting character. Had we never seen him in Clone Wars, if George and Dave didn't bring him back, he played the exact role that he was needed to do way back in episode 1 when we started talking here. I do think he adds some texture, which is why I like this story arc so much, is because it adds a little bit more texture to episode 3. Episode 3 is maybe my favorite Star Wars. I'm fine with it the way it is. I don't need any more backstory to it. Some people who may be on this screen have a hard time watching Anakin's fall happen. Maybe they think it's a little bit too fast. I would argue differently, but I like having these other contexts that adds some color and some texture to the whole thing. But and I think that's the way Maul's story has developed over the years, and I think that's what Shadow Lord's going to do. So I love, you hate, but in the end, we're fans, and
it's all Star Wars.
It's all Star Wars.
It's
so
all Star Wars.
Thank you for the discussion tonight.
We survived, and no one's filing for divorce. Yay!
Yeah, but we definitely are in the middle of March.
March Wellness continues.
It does continue. Tomorrow night's going to be the watch along. They are doing the 4-part story arc
that was just introduced here by my fangirl flailing husband. Right?
Of season 7 of Clone Wars. So that is going to be fun. We're going to also have more Life at Lightspeed. They'll be talking all things. I'm sure they'll talk a little bit about the trailer since it dropped this week. And then when we get into Sunday, the Unifying Force, they're going to have the men and the myth behind Darth Maul. So it'll be kind of a neat stuff. I know, it's things that we just
more background information. Yeah, exactly.
So April 6th, that Monday, we'll get 2 episodes. The show will start. I think we're getting 2 episodes a week all the way up until May the 4th. And then it's going to be all things Mando. So a lot of great Star Wars in the weeks and months to come, with the hope of more Firefly.
Good news in the future.
Good news.
Yep. Can't stop the signal. Keep flying.
Not at all. So.
All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Our little Maul debate here.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So with that, love, I think there's just one thing left to say.
I love you.
I know.